is to think great thoughts. We are a product of our thinking. Our emotions flow from our thoughts, and what we allow to enter our mind is the most important decision we make every day. That's the net. That's the summary. Now notice, since we're a product of our thought life, God commands us. I didn't just make this up. He commands us to think great thoughts. And you say, well, where do you get that? Well, follow along. Let's look together at Philippians chapter 4. Look at verse 8. Finally, brethren, verse 6, don't be anxious for anything. Verse 7, how God's going to work as you learn to pray, give thanks in the peace of God. Verse 8, he says, finally, brethren, whatever is true, that means objectively true, conforms to reality. Whatever is honorable, that has the idea of that which is worthy of respect or dignity. Whatever is right has the idea of justice or righteousness. Whatever is pure, that's the idea of moral purity, free from defilement. Whatever is lovely, that has the idea of something that is winsome and attractive and beautiful. Or whatever is good, and the idea here is admirable, of good report, worthy of passing on to another. And whatever is of any excellence, and if there is anything worthy of praise, dwell on these things. A great little biblical exercise is to go through and circle all of those words and just do a little mini Bible study on what they mean. And then they can become a little grid for what I allow to come into my mind. Whatever is true, whatever is lovely, whatever is honorable, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is good repute. And then Paul kind of thinks, in case I left something out, if there is any excellence, if there's anything worthy of praise, notice what he says, dwell on these things. That's the first command. Then notice the second command is the things that you have learned and received and heard and seen in me, then what do? Those are all recepting type words, aren't they? Learned, received, heard, seen. Take all this data, practice these things, and what's the promise? The God of peace will be with you. You see, when we're anxious, really, you know what anxiety is? Anxiety is just dwelling on something. Anxiety is negative meditation. I mean, some people say, well, I don't know how to meditate on Scripture. Well, just try worrying and reverse it. It works, right? I mean, anxiety is, I wonder what's going to happen. I don't know. Well, the economy's going kind of south a little bit, and I've got some money put away over here, and if that doesn't come through, then I might have to come out of retirement, or, I had planned to do with this, and what happened? Well, one of my grandchildren, and if that happens, then they could meet one of those kids at one of those colleges, and I wouldn't have enough money. I wouldn't have enough money, and I have one of my kids with one of those kids. And then I think I'm hyperventilating, And what do? We take one little thing and we dwell on it, and then we pull it apart, and then we factor out all the possible negative things that could happen. What happens to your emotions? Tightening of the chest, start to get depressed, little panic attack, depression. See, you are a product and I'm a product of my thinking. And when my thinking begins to go south, my emotions begin to really go in a bad direction. And I'd like to tell you I'm real objective, and I make all my decisions, just based on good thinking and objective criteria. I got news for you. Most of us make our decisions in an emotional state. And we are swayed by how we're feeling and what we do. And what the Apostle Paul is saying is that in the area of anxiety, come to God and learn to offer it, recognize what's happening. He uses 3 or 4 different words for prayer. He says, come in general, give thanksgiving, take the specific issue, get it before the Lord, and the promise is that the God of peace will be with you. The peace of God will reign in your hearts. And then he says, now let's get rid of that as a lifestyle. Finally, brethren, what I need you to do is I'm going to go back beyond the emotions, beyond the anxiety, beyond the behavior. I'm going to go back to your thinking. So finally, brethren, he gives us 6 or 7 things and then scrapes the Milky Way. Basically, think godly, pure, righteous, honorable, winsome, lovely, God-honoring thoughts.